Welcome back to Pre-Algebra. This is section 1.6. Last time we talked about adding. What do you think we're going to talk about now? That's right, subtracting. And really, when you're adding and subtracting with negative numbers, it kind of ends up being the same thing. So, once again, try to do these in your head if they're simple. Check it on your calculator. If they're more complex, just do it on your calculator. Also, the other thing to remember is if a negative is at the beginning of a problem, you use the negative sign, which is found at the bottom of the TI-84 calculator if you have this. If it is a negative sign in the middle, you use the minus sign that's over with the plus. Okay? So just remember minus middle. Those go together. Alright, so let's do this problem. 5 plus negative 1. Now remember, I told you I don't like those parentheses. This is the same thing as 5 minus 1. I think it's easier. The other thing is you can use a number line for these, but I'd prefer you to get where you don't need it. It just takes too much time. So what you do is you start on the number line where the first number is, and then if it's minus, you go toward the negative side, and if it's plus, you go to the positive side. And this tells you how many frog hops. That tells you the direction. So we go 1 frog hop toward the negative side, and the answer is 4. Now you do not need that explanation for 5 minus 1 equals 4. The other way you can think of it is you have $5, you spent 1, how many do you have left? You got 4. Alright, so let's try this one without or I guess we could do the number line. We start at 3, we go 7 frog hops toward negative. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We end up at negative 4. But I would prefer you to just think about it. You had $3. You spent 7. How many are you in the hole? How much do you owe your mom or whoever you borrowed from? $4. Okay, let's try our next one. You have $4, but you spent 10. How many are you in the hole? You're in the hole 6. Negative 6. This one is a problem out of your book, and it's got those two, that parentheses, but this one we can't just get rid of it. You have to remember, what have we talked about? The two negatives equal a positive. If in math, in multiplication, if you multiply two positive numbers together, the answer is positive. If you multiply a positive number times a negative number, the answer is negative. But weirdly, if you multiply a negative number times another negative number, the answer is positive. We do this in grammar too. If you say, I ain't got no bananas, then you have bananas because you ain't got no bananas, so you must have some bananas. A double negative makes a positive. I know in the South, not necessarily. In the South, if you ask a shopkeeper, do you have bananas? And he says, I ain't got no bananas, he's using a double negative for emphasis. But what he's really saying is that he has some bananas. Alright, so this is two negatives. It's a negative times a negative, and two negatives make a positive. So 7 plus 5 is 12. Here we have it again. Two negatives make a positive. I owed you $2. I paid you back those 2. How many dollars do I have left? I have 7 after I got through paying you back. Let's look at this one. Here's another problem. Here they tell us x minus negative 40 equals, and they tell us that x equals negative 9. So we need to sing the song, substitute. I think this is the official dance for that. And so I'm going to put negative 9 minus negative 40, and I have two negatives and they make a positive, so I'm going to change this to negative 9 plus 40. I'm going to draw a line so we can see the difference in these problems. So that's really the same thing as 40 minus 9, but it's like I owed you $9, I paid you back. How many do I have left? I've got 31. Did that make sense? Let's do another one. 7 minus x. So 7 minus an x is negative 9. I'll sing substitute and fill it in. 2 negatives make a positive. Now I usually want you to work down and not out, but I didn't give myself enough room. So I'm going to have to work out. So this is the same thing as 7 plus 9, which equals 16. The next problem in your book is a word problem. They tell you that there is an underwater volcano. And then it keeps erupting, and when it does, the magma all flows out, the lava, and then it hardens, and it's making this underground volcano closer and closer to breaking out over the sea and becoming an island. So it started off 235 feet below sea level, I think it was feet, and then after a lot of erupting, now it's only 182 feet below sea level. And so they want to see how much did it grow. What's the difference in these? How much is this little bit right there? Okay? So 2 negatives make what? A positive. So negative 182 plus 235 will give us our answer. This is a calculator problem. Put that in your calculator just like that, and you should get that the volcano grew 53 feet. Alright, so that was pretty fun. Math is fun. Come back next segment and I bet you can guess what we're going to talk about. Multiply. But first we're going to talk about mean, median, and mode. Alright, math is fun.